Just a few more guys messaging. So he's telling me he is trying to get.
Give me that.
So just about, I'll say another 3 minutes and then we can get started. But again, thanks to everyone who are here. It's truly appreciated. Try out.
Took me a while, but I'm finally here. I just wanna testify, make it crystal clear. See, I've been picked out to be picked on, talked about out my friend's mouth. I've been beat down till he turned my life around. Seems like I always fall short of being worthy. I ain't good enough, but he still loves me. I ain't no superstar, spotlight ain't shining on me. No. I ain't good me.
I used to wake up some days and wish I stayed asleep.
Hey, Cousin Winston. I'm trying to figure out if you're able to get on.
Everybody got opinions.
Pardon? You're saying there may be a problem with the internet? Okay, there's a number you can call. I can send it because you can do it just from a regular phone call as well. Let me get the number to you. Okay, the number you should be able to call 1-386-347. It's 1-347-5053. And then once you call that number, they may ask for a meeting ID. And for the meeting ID, you can put in 323715. And then 0411. You still there? Okay. Yes, sir. And then they may ask for a passcode after you put in that. And the passcode will be 236687. So once you call the first number, which is 1-386-347-5053,
You hear me, Daniel? Daniel. Hello?
Hi, Shane. How are you? I think he's on the phone communicating with somebody else at this point. I muted him so that we don't hear everything in the background. But he can unmute himself.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself too. Hope I don't kill myself.
Hey again, everyone. I truly apologize for that. That was Cousin Winston I was talking to. He was having a little difficulty getting in. So he just needed some help and walk through with that. Cousin Linda, one quick question, sorry. Any of these, he can call in from any of these numbers and still get in, right?
I believe so. There may be charges attached, but I'm not sure how that works.
When I saw for the Bahamas, it said toll free.
Okay,
If I
then.
click something in it,
Maybe,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, maybe that's the one for him.
Okay. Okay. So we can just hope that he gets in. Oh, hey Shane, you made it.
How do you know I'm in there? Can you see me or something?
Yeah, I can see you, man. We got eyes.
All right, because bro, I can't see anything. I can't even figure it out. Right now, I'm headed down this mountain, so I'm trying not to kill myself. Honestly.
Hey, don't do that. Definitely. Okay, this
Right.
may be Cousin Winston here. Cousin Winston, is that you?
This is me.
Okay. So everyone, this is Cousin Winston in. Cousin Marina, are you in?
Yes, I am.
Oh, this is perfect. And Cousin Dennis, are you in?
I'm here.
All right, perfect. Hey, welcome everyone. We can definitely start. Cousin Linda, can you start us off with a prayer, please, if that's okay with you?
Okay, let us pray. Our kind Father in heaven, we just thank you for bringing us together again as family, and we ask that you be with us as we deliberate. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and bring us closer to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 All right, everyone. Again, thank you all for being here. This is truly, truly appreciated. First, I want to start off with Cousin Muriel sends her regards. She said it was her daughter's birthday today, so she had to go to that function. But she really wishes she was here. And again, she said to say hello to everyone. And if something like this was to happen again, she said she definitely wouldn't want to miss it. But there's a few housekeeping we would like to go over, me and Cousin Linda, if that's okay. And then we can definitely dive in because we don't want to take up too much of everyone's time.
Okay, so for those of you who are on the Zoom platform, please please only unmute your mic when you're going to speak. And when you are finished, you can mute it so we don't hear any background sounds or sounds that we shouldn't hear. If you want to say something in the chat, just take your cursor and move it down to chat. Click on chat. You can communicate with people in the chat, either specifically or generally, and press enter. And then if you're moving further down to reactions, you click on reactions. You're going to see a raised hand. If you want to speak, you raise your hand. Once you finish speaking, then you go back to reactions and you can lower your hand. And if there are any others that you disagree with or something you'd like, you can press on the faces, the hands, and then there's more, those 3 dots. You can see a whole lot with the faces, the smiley faces, and any other reaction you want to place in the chat if you're not going to write. Okay, so basically that is it for now. Are there any questions? So we understand what's going on. I hope I didn't go too fast. Those on the telephone may have to use a different method. They may have to interject, okay?
Is everyone okay and fine?
Fine with me.
Okay. So what we're going to start off with is, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
I know she was rattling through all those functions, but I'm driving. You know what I mean? So
No, we don't want you to.
For me, it's not going to happen.
Turn off the mountain now. We want you to keep your eyes on the road.
Go off the side of the mountain playing around with these buttons. I can't do it.
So for those who can't see my family tree, hopefully this helps. Well, to be honest, this will be all of our family tree because this is the Moss branch of our family. But as we're doing introductions, what I'm going to try do, it was a suggestion by Cousin Shane and Cousin Linda, but I'm going to try and find exactly where you are located on the tree. And I hope that will help everyone better connections or better understanding of exactly where you are on our family tree. All right. So I guess I can kind of start with myself, and we can go around the room and just introduce who we are and who is our at least earliest ancestor. If that is your grandparent, that is fine. I should be able to find them on the tree, and we can go from there. So I'll just use myself as an example. Like I said, from James Moss here, we go down to William Moss. And from William Moss, we will go down to Simon Moss, okay? And from Simon Moss here, we'll go down to his daughter, Perlina Moss. From Perlina, we will go to her daughter, Rosebell. And it's just popping up. From Rosedale and her kids, we will go down to Helen. And from Helen, I know it's getting small and it almost seems complicated. We get down here to me. So that's how I'm related to the Moss clan. Okay. Anyone else wants to go and start off? Maybe you, Cousin Linda? Cousin Linda, you're there. You're muted if you're talking.
Okay, Paul Moss, he would be my great grandfather, and he was married to Edith Hasty. And Edith was from Pompey Bay, Acklands, and they had a number of children, and my grandmother, Maudie Moss, was their daughter, and she was married to John Gibson. And John and Maud had a son named Shervin, or Reginald rather, who was my father. So his name was Reginald Haven Gibson, and I just recently found out that he was born in Long Key in 1933, June 24th of 1933, no, July, one of those dates, 24th, 1933. And this is my sister, Barbara, and my other sister, Candace. So that's how we connected to the Moss family.
Anyone else want to give it a go?
Let me try to go real quick while I'm going through a weigh station. I'm assuming, Daniel, correct me if I'm correct, Walter is Simon's son?
Yes. So if you would like me to do your walkthrough, Shane, that'll be fine.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that, because I know it's Simon, Walter, and then my grandma. But go ahead.
So for Shane, our cousin Shane, again, it goes back to William Moss. William had Simon Moss, which is my particular line. Simon had a son, it will be his eldest son, by the name of Adolphus Moss. But okay, Walter had a few kids. It's just popping up for those who can see. But the main daughter he had was Virginia Moss, okay? And Virginia had, if it's going to open for me. Alrighty, Virginia had Harold Peak, okay? And from Harold Peak, there was, and it's taking a while. From Harold Peak, there we have Shane there, Shane Peak on the family tree. So that's how he is connected to the Moss family. What I would like to do, we may have to skip a few people just for the lack of time, but for cousin Marina and her son, cousin Dennis, I definitely want to show how they fall on the tree because they are key as far as I'm concerned. I know you've heard me said that last week, but they really are. Now, there is a strawn moss on our tree, and Strawn is to be the son of our grandfather William, not the a daughter. And cousin Marina, you can definitely correct me if I'm wrong. Cousin Dennis, you can also chime in. But from Marina, from Strawn, or Uncle Strawn, I guess I have to call him. This is acting up. Okay, there was a Lolita E. Moss. And Lolita, cousin Lolita, had Lawrence H. Moss, who will be the husband of cousin Marina that's on the call. And then they had some kids, but then you have cousin Dennis here, who will be on the call also. Am I correct so far, cousin Marina and cousin Dennis?
Mom, you want to respond to that? Mom, you on? This is cousin Dennis.
Okay.
I'm looking at family tree that we had done some time ago as a family. That basically started off with Baracoa and Diana Moss, and through that union, my grandfather, on my dad's side, Edward Moss. Basically, then you have Lawrence and Luther and Aunt Terry and Aunt Doris and so on and so forth. And then Lawrence would be the four of us. I'm the oldest child, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I have, based upon the research that was done on our family tree. On my father's side, and this was done, many years ago, when we too were in search of trying to put together the tree and trying to figure out, who's who and who's related to whom. So that's what I have. Mama, you are?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What's your take?
Well, it's two different Mosses. On your father's side, his mother was a Moss, and then she married a Moss. So we are concerned about the Cripple Hill Mosses, not the number 2 or Timber Hill. And it was your grandmother, Lolita Moss. She was the daughter of Strawn Moss. That's the Cripple Hill Moss. And she had, I think, 2 sisters and about 4 brothers. And Uncle Simon and Strawn, I think, were brothers. And Daniel, Dan Moss' father, I think his name was Daniel Moss also. But James Moss, it was his grandfather, Uncle Simon. And then his mother, I forgot her name now, but that's how James is into this also. So I hope that Janice or Cherie have some information on their father's side of the family, on that side, because they are involved with both sides of the Mosses. James' father is a Moss from Timber Hill. His mother was a Moss from Cripple Hill.
Cripple Hill. Yeah. Yes. Excuse me. I had raised my hand.
Is that right, Janice?
Yes, you are so right. Daddy told us that we're double cousins.
Right,
we're
very
cousins
much
on the
so.
Cripple Hill side. That's what I wanted Dennis to know. We're double cousins. We're
Yes,
cousins
you are.
on the Cripple Hill side, and we're cousins on the number 2 side.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I had told cousin Dennis, who's running this, that there are my daddy was a Moss on both sides.
Both
He was a
sides,
Moss
right.
through my grandmother's name was Aretha. Aretha Moss, and she's Simon Moss's daughter.
For his wife. Oh, his daughter, one of the daughters.
daughter. That was daughter. She wasn't
Okay.
a wife. She was his daughter. And
Okay.
Dennis, your grandmother that you showed, Perline, my grandmother should be on that same line
Yes, ma'am.
with Perline because that's her sister.
Right. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm pulling it up right now, and here it is. And this here is cousin Janet's grandmother, Aretha Moss. And then you have cousin Janet's father, James Moss. And Shane, again, this is the guy who you spoke with. Okay. And then you have
James out of North Carolina or whatever?
out of North Carolina. Oh, I don't.
I mean, he was living in
when you
the
spoke.
Carolinas, I think.
No, my daddy never lived in North Carolina. If you spoke with him, he lived in Miami, Florida. Never North Carolina. Don't connect
well, I'm
us.
sure
I
there
don't
were
know
some
what
of them that
James
went
Moss
to
in North
Carolina and
did.
some of them that went to New Orleans because they traveled on the ships that come to the Bahamas, and they had two sets of families.
Yeah, that might have
So
been.
that's how come the Mosses and the Fergusons is in those areas.
Yeah, geographically, that might have been my mistake for sure. I definitely spoke to your dad, I'm sure.
So that's her dad there. Now, cousin Winston, please, if you can tell us what you know on the family, because you have, if I'm correct, you would have the most history here. From when I spoke with you, you were telling me you knew that, and this will be your grandmother. You can't see it, but Clarabelle was your grandmother. That's correct, right, cousin Winston?
That is correct.
Okay.
Clarabelle.
Go on.
Clarabelle was my grandmother. Clarabelle's brother was Uncle Simon.
Right. Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, Clarabelle, was married to a walk-in.
Yeah, and Uncle Jimmy.
And they had a few children, one of whom was my mother, Moylene, who married a Barnaby. So hence, I'm here.
Yes.
But what I would like to find out, I knew Uncle Simon had some sisters besides Grandma Clary.
Right.
Now, can you give me the name of some of those sisters? I was under the impression it was a sister who went to Abaco. Was a sister who was in Fox Hill in Nassau. Have you have any information on those?
Now, I'm not sure. Now, I know he had a daughter in Fox Hill because his daughter in Fox Hill is my great-grandmother, which is Perlina. But I don't know of any sister. Now, I know he had a sister by the name of Jane Moss. I'm not sure if that name is familiar to you. He should have had a sister by the name of Octavia Moss. He should have had a sister by the name of Sarah Moss. Yes, that would be the sisters there. Sarah Moss, Octavia Moss, and Jane Moss. Now, which one went to Abaco? I can't tell you, but I will not be surprised.
From what I've gathered, the one who went to Abaco was married to an archer. And from my recollection, from what I understood, her name was
Annie, and she was supposed to marry to, she was known as Annie Archer. Now, I don't know how much truth is in that, but when I get back to Nassau, I will try to get some information on that.
I'm sorry, everyone, if you can see me, but I'm trying to write down because definitely I'm going to look that up because that's key. That's a name that I didn't have on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Cousin Winston, do you know who Clarabelle's father was?
Well, Clarabelle's father was the same as Uncle Simon's father.
Mm-hmm.
William, right?
Yes, that's the brother to Strawn.
Yes, that'll be correct. He is supposedly Strawn's brother.
Okay.
What about her mother? Did you know anything, or have you ever heard any stories of her mother?
Clarabelle's mother?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
What about?
No, I don't.
I think at one time we spoke because you were, if I remember, you said from what you understood, William's father, which will be Clarabelle's grandfather, his name was James Moss.
Right. And James Moss supposed to have been the uncle of Henry Moss, who had the plantation there in Crooked Island.
Okay.
He was an Englishman.
Oh, okay. And then you said, I think you heard he married a woman from Demerara or something of that sort, or he had children with a woman from Demerara or something of that sort.
Demerara in Guyana.
Okay. And this was James who had the children with her, not William.
No,
it was okay.
That's James. Yeah.
Okay. So for everyone here, except Cousin Dennis, that there will be, well, actually, I can't say that because Cousin Dennis, that would relate to you too, because James will be the father of Strawn as well. So
right.
What Cousin Winston was saying is James Moss here. Let me see if I can pull him up on the tree with all of the little branches open. It's showing so much different connections. But James Moss, who oversaw the plantation in Crooked Island, he had children with a woman from Demerara in Guyana. So what I've always heard is for Simon could have passed for white. But
yes,
obviously there was mixtures.
The majority of them, because they look like Indians to me.
See, this is where it's key now. So if you and Cousin Winston can explain how Clarabelle and Simon those look, I think that will help a lot. From your
Uncle Simon looked like a Jew.
Right, that's true.
The one
my mother-in-law looked like an Indian, and she dressed a lot like one.
That's Titalita.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Grandma Clary was small. In fact, when I was 9, 10 years old, I remember lifting her up. She was a very small woman.
Yeah, they were not very tall people. They were short.
And they marry all those Mandingo walk-ins from
the tall walk-ins. They're 6 foot over.
I think they like to take advantage.
I don't know what it was because I always had you remember my grandparents. I'd look at my grandmother and she was under 5 feet and my grandfather was 6'7", and when she speak to him he'd just be so calm and quiet, and I couldn't figure out such a big man and he just listening to her. But what can you say? That's love.
That was Uncle Tom.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So something that cousin Winston had mentioned with the Guyana, I wonder if I'll be able to pull it up, but I found that, let me see if I can pull it up for those who can see my screen, because there's something in the history records. There's something in the history records that actually does support what he said. I'm definitely, okay, I hope this is it. Here, let me try this one for those, like I said, who can't see. Because what the article basically stated was when his uncle and his cousin, and he was basically left in charge of a lot of property throughout the Bahamas. That's why you have Morristown and Exuma and other places. But Crooked Island was the main plantation for them. And when his uncle James died during a transfer of slaves to Guyana, and it actually lists that the slaves were being transferred to Demerara. So when cousin Winston had, because the history does share some of that story. Okay, so here it is in the article. Let me see. It states here, shortly before he died, James had been given permission by the colonial office to remove his Negroes, consisting of about 1,000 from the Bahamas to Demerara. On certain terms, he only succeeded in moving 211 enslaved Black people before he died. Having remained unmarried, he bequeathed most of his estate to his 3 nephews, John, James, and Henry, the sons of his brother Thomas, and tasked them to finish the transfer. Now, out of the 3 nephews, John, James, and Henry, the nephew James is who I'm quite sure we fall under, who will be the father of our William, will be that nephew there. And it was him who was really keen doing the transfer of the slaves from Crooked Island to Demerara. So again, just showing some history to piggyback of what cousin Winston was saying. So William and Strawn's mother should have definitely been this Black woman from Demerara, Guyana. Now, I'm assuming she would have been one of the slaves. I'm sorry, someone who was speaking just now.
I see cousin Janet's hand.
Go ahead, cousin Janet. I'm sorry.
No. That was on the family line. No, and I don't know. I told you I knew a lot, but I don't know how to put my hand down. But yes, I'm finished.
I lowered it for you just now, cousin Janet. Hey,
cousin
Barbara,
Daniel.
I see you're on. Sorry, sending a shout out to you.
Hi.
So, yeah.
Cousin Daniel, this is cousin Dennis.
Hey, cousin
you refer to an article. Could you get all of us a copy of that article that you were reading from?
Sure, definitely. This here is online, but definitely I can get it to you. Also, I have a copy of James Moss, the Loyalist will. And in his will, he stated some of these things. So I can get a copy of that to you as well.
Cousin Daniel, could you copy and paste the link in the chat so they can access it from there? For
Okay.
those who are online, but for those who are on the phone, you may have to send it to them.
Okay, that's a wonderful idea. Let me, so this here is the link that I just sent to the chat. So those of you who can see the chat, that's the link here to this article. And it, you know, like I said, it goes into a lot of information, again, talking about the Perseverance Estate, Crooked Island, which was the main plantation of the Mosses. And that's where our family would have kicked off from that plantation. But it's interesting with our family because there's a mixture. And I always share with people, a few of you would have heard me mention this over and over again. Usually people will hear the last name and they will say, oh, hey, you're my cousin. You're from Crooked Island, or your family is from Crooked Island. You're a Moss, we're definitely related. Not necessarily. There's two sets of Mosses, as I would explain. You have the direct descendants of the Moss Loyalists, and then you have the slaves who took on the Moss name. For our family, we will be direct blood descendants of the Mosses. And then, like I said, there'll be, and I'm sure there's mixing as well with the slave Mosses for us. No doubts about it. But definitely for us, mainly, we are direct descendants of the blood Mosses based on this information here. And based on the description that cousin Marina and cousin Winston gave of how Simon and his siblings those looked, I think that confirms it for us. Yeah, any more inputs? Cousin Winston, any more history that you can share with us? I think everyone would love to hear it.
What about Henry Moss?
Which
said that James left Henry into the slave. Was Henry involved in that? Henry Moss.
Yeah, Henry Moss, based on what the will stated, was the three nephews, Henry, John, and James, were supposed to continue the transfer that their uncle James Moss, the Loyalists, were doing.
Okay.
After he died.
Okay. So Henry Moss was the one who had most of that property and between Morstown and Landrill Point in that area.
That's what I'm assuming.
Right.
And I think it was him who had the dealings with poor Black Kate. Whenever the Moss plantation, Crooked Island, comes up, I know the story of poor Black Kate comes up. And
right. He was jailed. He was jailed for that. Both he and his wife Helen.
Yes. And I'm thinking that it was definitely that Henry Moss, our cousin Henry, as I can call him, who had that dealing with poor Black Kate.
Yeah.
What's the story on the poor Black Kate?
Cousin Winston, can you share that with us, please?
Well, poor Kate was a 16-year-old girl, and she was a house slave in Henry and Helen's home. Now, for some reason, Kate got his dress torn. I assume that it was Henry attempt to, as a slave, the house slave, you were property of the slave master. But Kate was such a strong-willed girl. After Henry tore the dress, she refused to sew it. And since she refused to sew it, she was put out of the house into the plantation. And there she was whipped. Even her father gave her up to 50 lashes. She was whipped every day. They placed pepper in her eyes so she couldn't sleep. And after those punishment, I think it was almost 16 days, poor old Kate passed away. But because of the punishment, Henry and Helen was brought before the court. The governor knew of what went on, and it was such a heinous thing that they did, that they were placed before the court, and they were convicted. This brief time in prison, and then they were released. And they had one of the biggest celebrations in Crooked Island when Henry and Helen was released. But that was the story of poor old Kate. They tortured her to death. And her father who was a slave, one of Henry Moss' slave, is one who dished out some of the punishment to poor old Kate, his 16-year-old daughter.
Sounds like 12 years a slave.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a story. What a story, Cousin Winston.
That's one of the reasons I would tend to agree with what Malcolm X says. His name is no... I wouldn't want to call the Moss and so on. You would like to put an X behind it because some of those guys really wasn't anything you would like to use their name.
Yeah, you were right. you were definitely right.
Yes, so right. So right, cousin.
So that was what Henry did. Now, from my research, it doesn't seem to be much stories from our James, which will be Henry's brother. There isn't much stories on him or how he would have lived, but what I heard from Cousin Winston and from my research, it tied in. After a while, James went back to England. He went back home to England, and I think, if I'm correct, that's where he died. And I'm thinking that's how the family ended up getting the property there in Cripple Hill. I think he left that to his children. And that's how our Moss family got there in Cripple Hill. But that's my interpretation, being generations down. But some of you older folks, if you know anything, you may be able to correct that for me.
James also had property in Fortune Island, which was Long Key. In fact, in Long Key, they have a hill on the southwestern part of Fortune Island, Long Key, which is called Moss Hill. That was named after the Honorable James Moss. I think he had owned those properties there at that time.
So, Cousin Linda, you were saying your father was born in Long Key?
Yes, according to the birth records.
So again, he was born on Moss property.
So about how many people live on Long Key right now?
Now.
You have, I think you have about 15 persons in Long Key at the moment. But when my grandfather, Jimmy Walkin, and those went to Panama, at one one of the trips, the ship took 2,500 men from Fortune Island to Panama and Cologne. That's when it was working on the Panama Canal. In fact, in Long Key, at the turn of the century, in 1901, they had 50 stores in Albertown, which was the capital, 25 of which were bar rooms. And at that time, they had the Atlas line, which was a shipping line from Germany to New York to Fortune Island, which was Long Key. They had a store there, the Atlas store, which is a four-story store at the turn of the century, around 1901. They had telephone in Long Key at that time. In fact, they had a residential doctor in Long Key. And when my grandmother, my father's mother, Harriet, she died en route to the doctor in Long Key. And, of course, with segregation, you had to enter Long Key from the back street and walk down Long Key in the front street. But now you could walk all over Long Key. You so desire. But Long Key was a very prosperous place. It wasn't New Providence. It was Fortune Island, which was Long Key, and Inagua. In fact, the old man showed me when my grandfather, Jimmy Walken, came from Panama, came to Long Key. He showed me the foundation of the house. He came, he had two boys with a lady in Long Key. Then he'd go back to Panama. When he come on the second trip, he'll come to Crooked Island to Grandma Clary. And he had two boys with her, George and Edgar.
So, Cousin Winston, did you know Maud Moss directly?
Maud, as the one who married Gibson?
Yes.
Oh, very well. She was a very pleasant and a very kind woman. We used to call her Maudie.
Yes, Maudie.
That's our grandmother.
Wow. Her husband, John, drowned right off a Landry Point.
Yes, he did. They never found the body, did they?
No, not to my knowledge.
Now, where did his people come from?
I knew all the brothers. I knew all the sons very well. They were very close family with my old lady. I didn't realize how close the family was.
Yeah, they're cousins.
They always called each other cousin.
Yes, they were, because your grandmother and Maud would be your grandmother's niece.
Yeah.
So your mother and would be first cousins. That's how that.
Also, because I met a lady in Nassau who is related to Maud, her mother from Pompey Bay. She said her mother was from Pompey Bay.
Edith
and her mother was related to Maud Gibson, which was Maud Moss.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Daniel, when I go to Nassau, I'm going to get some information on that and I will let you know.
Definitely. I'm eager to gather as much as I can gather now.
She is a kind.
Cousin Linda, you guys knew anything about her? Because that's...
You're not talking about Cousin Iris, eh?
No, this is Marguerite Tynes. Her mother was Maxie Tynes.
I've heard about Maxie, but I don't know her.
Right, this is Maxie's daughter I'm speaking about.
Okay.
So Paul Moss, which is was from Cripple Hill, the sister of what's the sister's name again? Manny.
Bunch and Manny.
Bunch
Yeah,
and Manny.
I know those names. I met those persons. Yeah.
Okay.
Long
Well,
years
they
ago.
said that we know her as Manny Paul, but I realized, I learned afterwards that that's the way they put the two names together. I think she must be married to Paul, or call her Mary Paul. She was very fair.
So I have a question, Cousin Winston. Did you know Uncle Paul, as I call him, but your grandmother's brother, Paul?
No. I barely know Uncle Simon, and I know Grandma Clary, but I think was one in Fox Hill. I heard there was one in Fox Hill called Aunt Orky, and Annie Archer. One went to Abaco. I'm going to try to follow some information and those.
So the one in Fox Hill, what did you say she was called?
Orky. That's they give me. I don't know if that's the nickname or what.
Yeah, because I realized back in those days, your nickname was more popular than your birth name.
Yes, she used to live in Fox Hill, and I know that was one of Grandma Clary's sister, a daughter, or her granddaughter, the one who was married to Leon Taylor, who was Leon and the Roosters. Okay, and you said there's a granddaughter. So you said Orky have a granddaughter who was married to Leon Taylor? Yes, that's supposed to have been Orky's granddaughter or great granddaughter. But I knew her, and I still believe I could get in touch with her when I saw her. I will follow up on that. Okay, perfect, because that there will help a lot. Because why I say that is it's interesting because my great grandmother Perlina, which is Simon's daughter, when she came to Nassau and she came to Fox Hill, I've been questioning my side of the family, asking why out of everywhere in Nassau, why would she choose to come to Fox Hill? Not saying that it was a bad area, but wherever she would have settled, I wanted to know why she chose that place. But based on what you're saying, it says to me that she would have came to Fox Hill because she had an aunt down here. And that seemed to be the case. Yes, and now it makes sense. Because her other sisters, cousin Janet, I heard your grandmother lived somewhere not too far from Fox Hill as well. And then there's another aunt, which will be another sister, cousin Janet, cousin baby, his mother lived.
Yeah, cousin baby's mother, Annie Wilder.
Yes, Annie Wilder, she lived in the Fox Hill area too. So now it's making sense to me that they would have came because they are aunt, or they would have had an aunt down here.
And do you know that Aki name is something that rings in my mind as a child? That Annie Cooley, my Annie Cooley, when she went to see Rosedale, your great grandmother, Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
She took us to another cousin there it was through her mother. And I don't know why this Aki name is ringing, Cousin Winston is ringing in my ear from when I was a child. And I was to go to Nassau. Fox Hill would be the place that we would go. My grandmother didn't live there at the time, but all her family seemed to have been in Fox Hill.
That's right, because I think there where Arky was. That there is that's interesting. That's why I wanted this call, and I wanted certain people to be on this call, because now I'm getting so much extra names and information. I'm loving this, guys. I'm loving this.
I want to swap to cousin Dennis for a bit, if you don't mind. Do you know much about your father's mother's side of the family, cousin Dennis?
I really don't. And more my father's, his siblings and those kinds of things. We basically did research when we were doing some of the family reunions, and I find the conversation, fascinating that I'm listening to now, because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure out at this particular point in time where everybody kind of fits on the family tree. But my mom would probably, be more versed and have more information.
All right. Well, cousin Winston's wife, from my understanding, and your father will be first cousins. You're aware of that?
Right.
Okay.
No,
Right.
Winston's wife is my husband's niece.
Niece.
Right.
Oh, so cousin Winston's wife and cousin Dennis will be first cousins.
Right.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Okay. So I'm hoping this is helping cousin Dennis. I know it's a lot, but I'm really hoping that this is helping in some shape, fashion, or form.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot trying to see where everything, all the pieces kind of fit. Let me ask you a question. In terms of the research, that you've conducted so far, just quickly, what all have you done, and that's kind of brought you to this point now? I'm just curious about that.
Well, just searching through records, meeting people, talking to people, showing up at people's doorsteps. Not all are too receptive, but most are. And again, just talking to people like your mom, cousin Winston, cousin Janet, cousin Linda, because what I've realized is everyone has bits and pieces of information from their family lines. Every family line has a story to tell. And if all can come together, you get a better picture of the story. But if you're focusing on just one line, you'll never have a full story, because you may find a name that your family was using, and another family line may be able to tell you the correct name. So you can go back further just by that one name. Or for me, when I spoke with cousin Linda, I had no idea of how Uncle Paul, Simon, any of those will even feature or how they would look. And cousin Linda's side of the family, they have a picture of Uncle Paul. So that now, when I saw that picture, that said for me, okay, this is how the siblings, the rest of the siblings, will have some sort of looks. So when I saw that and I listened to what your mom said and what cousin Winston said, and I look at the photo, I can't see the resemblance in what stories that they share. But you definitely would have to reach out to people. Everyone, once you get a name that's raised, if you can get in contact with that person or their children or grandchildren, that'll definitely help. So I hope that can give you some sort of relief. And definitely once the call is done, I really would like to talk with you some more in detail to see what you have came up with so far, because that probably can help me.
Yeah, I think that, you're really talking to cousin Leslie Jr., it's cousin Meryl's son. That would be a good source, because he kind of led the effort as far as doing, family research and those kinds of things. And cousin Winston is just a book of knowledge on the family. Cuz, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Again, yeah, I'm just very interested in in finding out additional information at this time. And I think that probably when you talk to some folks and some people may be a bit hesitant, it's because they just don't know, and they're trying to figure out, well, who is this person, and what are they trying to accomplish, and that sort of a thing. So I don't think it's out of any kind of malice or anything like that, but people just don't know, and again, beginning to do the additional research and bringing in additional information that can be shared with everyone, I think it will make the family that much closer and stronger, as a family.
Yeah, you're definitely right. So usually what I try to do, but this is me personally, once I contact someone, I always try to tell them how I'm connected to them. And that will give them some sort of ease. And then I always invite them to view my family tree, because more than likely, I may have already have them on my tree. It's just getting more information. Like this is the first time me and you were talking, but you are already in my tree. So that's
Daniel, you
go ahead, Shane.
Can I ask you a question?
Hey.
Yeah. Where you went to speak with Kelson and Kim at the funeral home. Well, how do they fit in as a cop? And isn't Kelson's brother? He lives in that Fox, wherever you guys are talking about that area.
Fox Hill.
Because I don't know. Yeah, Fox Hill. Right.
Yes. So Kelson and Kim, they really have no ties with us at all. They have ties with you, but they don't have any ties with the Moss family. Because what happened is cousin Irene, your great-grandfather, Uncle Walters, I have to call him, he married Marie, which is Aunt Irene's mom, but he met Marie with Irene. You feel me? So the Mosses was her step family, if I can word it like that. Or your great-grandfather was Irene, which is Kelson Cam's mom. That was her stepfather. So they have no ties with the Mosses, other than, like I said, we have some half siblings with them, all cousin Virginia, they will be her half siblings who are Mosses. But again, that's it for her with them. They share the same mom, and their mom was in the Moss.
Because Uncle Ralph his last name is still Moss, although his mom is a Peak. And I think Uncle Ralph thinks that Kelson and Kim are related through the Moss. I think that's what he thinks.
Yeah, no,
I need to tell him that.
Yeah, they're not related through the Moss. They're related through so Kelson and Kim, their grandmother will be the same as Uncle Ralph's grandmother. So they share the same grandmother, but not the same grandfather. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all. So back to everyone else. There are some.
Can I ask one question just before you go to everybody else? So Uncle Walter's children, who are Uncle Walter's children then?
Virgie, you may know Virginia, Virgie.
Virgie.
Yes, and Shane is Virgie's grandson.
Yes, I understand.
Then there's, because it seemed to be that there was a few of them. Shane, that's your particular line, so you can definitely go in and shed some more light. That's your line.
Yeah, my grandma, Verge, had, she was Aunt Lolita was her sister. I don't know who was older. I think Virginia was older. It was Aunt Lolita, Aunt Belle. Aunt Belle passed away a while ago. I think she was one of the first that I remember passing away. I don't really know. I remember Uncle Ralph saying to me that I don't know if it was my grandma, his mom, or my grandmother's mother was one of 20 kids. He said that at the reunion that we were at. He said somebody was one of 20 kids. So I don't know if it was my grandmother was one of 20 kids or I don't know if that's just a rumor because that sounds extreme to me. So, but either my grandma
No,
or my grandmother's
I
mother.
wouldn't. Okay, so Marie. How
yes.
is Marie? Is Marie Uncle Walter's daughter?
Yes. So Marie will be Shane's grandaunt.
Grandaunt.
Yeah, I met Marie in Florida.
And then Donald.
I think Donald is Marie's son, right, cousin Janet?
No, I thought Donald was Marie's brother.
Well, you know what? There is a possibility. Let me see if I can find them on my tree. I think I've gotten a good amount of names for Uncle Walter's kids. Let me just see if I can find it for you. But I do remember hearing a name, Donald Moss, in there. I'm 100% sure of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of Donald a couple of times, quite a few times from Grandma.
Okay, so here's the names that I have for the kids. I have a Belle Moss. I have a Virginia Moss. I have a Jane Moss. Jane would have been Marie. Okay, so Jane is Marie. And then there is a Donald cousin Janet. You were right.
I thought so.
Yes, and then there's Lolita.
Okay, because of the children of Uncle Walter, and I knew Uncle Walter well, Uncle Walter and Uncle Henry. I knew them well and remember them well. We knew Marie, I guess who you said, and Donald. Those are the two of Uncle. I know he had more kids, and I know that. But here in that area in Miami and the Perrine area, wherever they were living, that's the ones that I knew very well. Marie and Donald.
So Daniel, can you show her a picture of Walter that I gave you yesterday to confirm that's Walter?
You were reading my mind.
Yeah. that would be nice to confirm that.
Show a picture, and I would love to see that.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up, and then definitely wait. You can see my camera.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So let me pull it up on my phone. That'll be the fastest way I can do it. Okay, this does tell me, and is it clear first of all?
Yeah.
Is this the man you remember to be Uncle Walter?
Yeah, that's Uncle Walter.
So
and he looks like, and Uncle Henry looked, they looked the same, and they were little short men. They weren't big and tall. They were short in stature.
So cousin Shane, hey, we've hit the nail on the head finally.
Right.
So I think
this is Aunt Linda speaking, right? Linda?
No, this is cousin Janet.
Who is it? Janet. I think I met her before. One time I came down to Florida. Aunt Pete brought me down to Florida when I met Aunt Marie, and I met Donald. I met Baby, I think. And there was a cousin by the name of Mika that was like young, a little bit younger than me, a female.
Anika.
And Donna, no,
And
Mika,
Nika.
Mika,
Oh, Mika.
Mika, yeah. Like she had the same birthday as me. And then there was another cousin, real light skin like me. But I think I might have met you.
So
They were taking us around the family for like a whole week.
If he brought you down to Miami to see James Moss, you would have met me. He would have brought, if he came to Miami he would have brought you to see James. And you maybe, I don't know if you remember meeting, a little shorter stature also. That's when they were talking about that a little bit earlier. I said, oh, so that's why Daddy wasn't tall like his daddy on the other Moss side. He was short in stature like the men in the Moss family, on his mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, makes sense.
Yeah, I was young. I think I was like
I'm
only about
learning
14.
a lot, cuz learning a lot from everybody. Thank you.
Cousin Janet, I want to show you another picture. Can you tell me who this person is, if you can see it clear?
He looks like Aunt Cooley's husband, but I don't know if that's Joshua.
Okay, this
No.
here is supposed to be Uncle Walter again.
Maybe Uncle Walter in his later life.
Ah.
In his, yeah. Yeah, with them stick out ears. Yep, like them monsters on that side. Yeah. Yeah, let's see both of those pictures.
Okay, let me
I know I'm holding up time. I'm sorry, but I want Shane to know where he's from also.
Can you see it?
Yeah. And this looks like Donald, almost like Donald Moss. Go ahead, let's see the other one.
And let me see if I can bring it. And hey, everyone, I apologize again. If we're taking any time, if anyone have to leave, that's fine. I'm just trying to clear something up for the tree. So please forgive me.
Yeah, Uncle Walter. Is that Uncle Walter's wife that's with him on the side of him?
No, that's his daughter.
That's his daughter.
No, his granddaughter, sorry.
No, I think that's Aunt Pete, Aunt Gloria.
Yeah, his granddaughter.
Virginia's daughter.
Virginia's daughter. Okay. Okay, yeah. That's Uncle Walter.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that. So that helped a lot. That really helped a lot, because I was hoping that there could have been a photo for him. And so, Cousin Janet, you helped a lot with that just now. So it's good to see the older folks who would know these people who have passed on, and the younger ones who don't know can now get a glimpse of who these people were based on a photo of them. Cousin Winston, I'm sorry. I think I've asked you this before. Forgive me if I did, and you've given me an answer, but your grandmother, do you think there's any photos or anything of her anywhere? Cousin Winston, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was saying, forgive me if I've asked this before and you've given me an answer. I was saying, do you know of any photos or anything of your grandmother that may be there?
Where?
Anywhere. Anyone of your sisters or brothers or cousins who may just happen to have a photo of her, your grandmother Clarabelle?
No, I'm sorry. No, they don't have any. From the best of my knowledge, my mommy had one sister. I know she had more siblings, but when I had my census, only one sister she had, and Aunt Eva died quite some time ago, and she didn't have any photos of Grandma.
Okay. Okay. That's no problem at all. So cousin Linda or cousin Barbara, anything you guys wanna share with the family on Uncle Paul's side? Anything that you may know, or any stories you may have heard that you can filter in for us?
I have not heard anything. I don't know, Barbara want to make an input?
Well, to be honest with you, if Linda don't know, you can be assured that I don't know, because she is the one. She is the one that knows more. Over the years, she paid more attention to the family. I was like a scatterbrain out in the wilderness somewhere that just wasn't, like I was in a deep dark hole. I don't know what my story was, but it's like only in recent years, and especially after Mommy and Daddy passed, that I all of a sudden really got interested in the history of my family. But it's really sad because, there were a lot of years that we could have gotten information that would have really served us at this point. But it is what it is. But I don't really have any information that would be helpful other than what you already have.
Okay. And for both of you, I think cousin Linda said this before. Again, forgive me if I forgot. You two didn't get to meet cousin Maud, did you?
No, my grandmother, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
No, as far as I know, we never actually saw her. Daddy came to Nassau to live as a child. They let him leave and come to Nassau, and so he wasn't really, he didn't grow up after like 14 in Crooked Island, and I guess she must have been living down there the whole time. And I don't even know if she died before or after we were born, but we never met her in person. I was always curious about her, and in fact, Linda appears to be very much someone like in her image. Like when you see pictures of her, there's something about her statue and her facial structure and her complexion that was almost identical to what Linda is now.
I'm told that she was here when I was born as a baby. So she would have seen me, but I don't remember her.
Okay.
And of course, our grandfather went out on a boat one day, they said, and never came back.
So the stories that cousin Winston knows and cousin Marina could share about her, I'm guessing that's almost a precious gem to you guys then, because
very much so.
Yeah, because they knew her, they physically knew her. Okay, that's.
So how old is Uncle Winston?
Me?
Yes.
I'm 77.
You sound much younger than that, but yeah, you must have been very, very young though, right, when she died, or
You mean Marty Gibson?
Yes.
Yes, I was rather young.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember when I christened in All Saints Church at the age of 3.
Oh my God. You have a photographic memory.
A brown high top boots.
Oh my Father. I can't remember what happened yesterday.
You see, to leave Crooked Island, Landrail Point was the point where you disembark. And we had lived almost 15 miles in the center of Crooked Island. So when you catch the mail boats to go to New Providence, you had to walk to Landrail Point, and there we will spend the night with cousin Maudie. And I can remember her those days. We'll sleep with her, and she will make sure give us tea while we wait on the mailboat coming from Managua en route to New Providence.
Wow.
And I remember I know all of her sons very well.
That was Garvin, Shervin, Uncle.
I think Shervin is the last one to pass, right?
Yeah, that was my father.
Shervin.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember when the eldest brother had a lawn service in Florida.
Stedman?
One of the brothers had a lawn. I don't remember his name, but I know we.
Yeah, that would have been
read
him,
upon
Stedman. Also Paul Hartman.
Okay, we went up on the mailboat together. I was a little.
And apparently he changed his name to Scavella.
Yeah.
He didn't go Gibson. He didn't go Gibson.
Oh.
Yeah, he changed his name when he went to Florida. He changed his name to Scavella, and we are in touch with his son now, quite regularly. So yeah, we and then there was two brothers. Well, one brother he had Jervis, and the other one was in. He stayed in Cricket Island. Garvin. Garvin also had another name, right, Linda?
Yeah.
The nickname was Poor Boy.
Yeah, that was
we called him Uncle Wilfred.
Yeah, Wilfred.
And then there was Uncle Clayton.
Yeah, where was Clayton? Clayton he stayed in Crooked Island too, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, Linda. No, I just wanted to know whose children are you talking about now? You're talking about Paul Morse children or grandchildren?
His grandchildren.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But cousin Manny and Bunch, and they have some relatives living in Florida. Some brothers or nephew.
A brother named Dan Moss
and David
his family
Moss
here in South Dade.
Dan died, right?
Okay.
Yes, he's there.
I remember them making trips to Crooked Island.
Right.
I always wonder what happened to them.
Yeah, Dan's son died as well. What was
One
his
of
name?
them.
Two
One
of
of
them
them
died.
Two.
Doctor. William Jr. And Daniel, the dentist.
Yes, he died.
And also Sammy. Three of them.
Oh, Sam died. Sammy is dead.
They're all deceased now.
Oh, really?
Okay.
The girls died
Lauren's
last
father,
year.
Linda? Which one of them was Lauren's father?
Billy.
William. Okay.
Yeah, and cousin Lauren was just in Nassau a few weeks ago. Shane, that's the one who lives in Columbia.
Okay.
But I'm sure glad to meet cousin Linda.
Yeah, nice to meet you, cousin Winston.
Because I haven't had any information on cousin Manny and the two sisters. I always know is Manny Paul, and I never knew anything else about her.
Well, cousin Vincent, Daddy has another daughter. She's on the side. Her name is Candace.
Hi, I'm here.
Really?
Yeah. She lives in the U.S.
That's Mary's
I'm in
daughter.
Maryland.
No.
Okay. So what she is to Mary Paul?
Who's Mary Paul?
Who is Mary Paul?
The one from
One of
Cripple Hill.
One of Dan Moss' sisters. Mary Paul and Bunch and Maud. They were sisters.
Oh, I didn't know her. I didn't know about her. Was she
Okay.
older or younger than Maud?
I think she was older.
Yeah, they were
I think
older than
Maud
Maud.
was the younger one. Used to call her Maudie.
Maud, yeah.
Sorry about that, Daniel. My headphones cut off.
Hey, no.
Bunch only had one daughter here.
Right. Mamie had no children.
Daniel, what I would be interested in, if you don't mind, I'm sorry to interrupt, is I know my Aunt Desi. Everyone said that my Aunt Desi was my daughter, was my grandmother's daughter, but it wasn't, right? Remember I told you that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was
right, and
mother's sister's daughter.
Right, and her brother's name was Danny, who passed away. So who it was? Is it that Marie? That's her real mom, original mom, or what? I can't remember.
I have it here on the tree. I'll have to go and look it up. But I think I have the correct information on the tree, speaking with your aunt. I think I have it somewhere on the tree that everyone supposedly are in the right parental line, if from your aunt, if I'm correct. And with you saying that now, is cousin Judy on? Are you on the call, cousin Judy? Or
yes, I am. Hello.
Oh, hey.
Oh my goodness. Good.
Yeah, I was on for a minute, but I had to be acknowledged by you guys, I guess. So I was waiting.
No.
But I missed a lot of the information. Hi, Candace.
Hi. It's good to hear you.
Hi. Same here. I missed a lot of the information that, things happen. But I wanted to say that when I was on the island many years ago, I was like in the 3rd grade. I got to meet Annie Telly, Annie Bunch, and Annie Maney. So I was blessed to look in their face. I want to mention that.
That's awesome. So
yeah,
and if I remember correctly, with the brief time that I spoke with you, cousin Judy, Sarah Moss is your grandmother?
That's correct.
Okay, so definitely I have to talk with you whenever you have some free time. I don't have you on the tree yet. I think I only have 2 kids for your grandmother, and there may be more, but I don't have you. Definitely, I would like to add your line of the family to the tree. That's fine.
My grandmother had 2 children for my grandfather, and that was my mother, California Moss, and her son, Serenus Moss.
Okay, so I have them.
Okay.
And for the children, I have a Michael Williams, Alfonso Williams, Sarah Williams, Craig Williams, Eamon Williams, Paul Williams, and Kenya Carter.
Correct. And apart from Uncle Don, I did meet Aunt Sarah. They were the only 2 that I met in person.
Okay.
Cousin Judy, where do you fall in this?
Well, Judy is my nickname. My name is actually, my birth name is Sarah. I'm named after my grandmother. So that's Sarah Williams, that's me.
Oh, okay. So I already have, because I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, where is she? Okay.
That's me.
Okay, gotcha. I'll definitely stick that in there.
Hey, Janet.
Cousin Janet, I think cousin Judy was saying hey to you if you didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. I had muted myself. Hi, sweetie. I was just getting ready to ask Linda or Barbara, had they spoken with you and told you what was going on? Good, glad.
Yes, Linda.
I'm really hoping that everyone that's on the call really had a chance to chime in. Like I say to everyone, you may think you don't have any information, but the little that you have may be key, because just notice with the small conversations, a lot of things came out. So anyone else that's on the call, if you haven't chimed in, if you could just pitch it and just say, hey, I'm here, that'll be awesome.
Okay.
I'm guessing everyone on the call pitched in. Okay, I know cousin Linda has a meeting at 6, and this was only supposed to be an hour, but I had a strong feeling that it would have went over an hour, just the fact that cousin Winston and cousin Marina were on the call. So I don't want to take up any more of your times, but cousin Linda, cousin Barbara, cousin Candace, I just want to share what cousin Marina had said when I spoke to her today. She was telling me she wouldn't be able to make it. She shared the same regards that cousin Winston shared about your grandmother. She said she was a very sweet woman. And I told her I just had to pass it on to you guys. She said she was a very sweet woman. She said she could never go there and see cousin Marty, and cousin Marty will not make sure she had something to eat, were her words. So
she must have been like Aunt Nellie. Aunt Nellie was that kind of person. You would not ever leave her house without something in her hand. She would run in the room and look under her mattress and take out $1. She would go in the kitchen and she would get food. I mean, she would literally pass out and die if you did not take something with you when you went. They had a spirit of giving and kindness. And Daddy was the same way. They would give you their last dime.
Yes, absolutely. And
and I just wanted to say about cousin Auntie Sarah, because I had to call her Auntie because she was married to my Uncle Mike. Your grandmother Judy, it must be in the bloodstream. You wasn't leaving your grandma's house without something. Whenever my grandmother would come to go visit, if it was a mango, if it was a piece of avocado, if it was some baked bread, whatever it was, your grandmother, I could remember as a child, she had that same spirit, Linda and Barbara. She would have been your grand aunt Sarah.
And let me say that when I went to the Bahamas, Nassau, with my grandmother many years ago, we stayed with Aunt Nellie, and she was the sweetest thing ever to me, to my grandma, and I always remember her. Our visits with her were just, memorable for me anyway as a kid during that time. Very kind. And we don't even want to talk about my Uncle Sherman. Oh my God. He was the man of the hour. Sweet guy. He was our contact. And when we went, he would take us around to visit family, take my grandmother around to visit family. And I would never, ever forget him.
So cousin Judy, sorry, just a quick interjection for a brief minute. Do you have a photo of your grandmother that you may be able to send me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Linda, you have a photo that I sent that you could get sent in?
I should, but I've had to change phones since
okay,
time, but I believe I'll try to look it up and see if I can locate it.
Okay. If you can, because I think I deleted it, the picture that I sent you. So I would have to pull the picture out, take another one, send to him. Is this Daniel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably when we hang up, I can send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And then what about Jervis? Would you happen to have a photo of him or no? If not,
No.
okay.
No.
We don't
I
have one.
think I
That
have
looks
one.
like this.
I think I have one.
Oh, you mean the one with him and Daddy standing up? Was that Jervis?
No, that's not Jervis. That's Clayton.
Okay. You have a picture of Jervis?
I think so. I think Paula or Freddie or Arthur gave me.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know if anyone have any closing remarks, because like I said, I want to be mindful of the time for cousin Linda. She has an engagement at 6.
Yes,
So,
and I have that same meeting as well.
Well, cousin Danielle, I wish to say thanks for inviting me this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to being on Zoom so I can see my families in future.
Oh, yes.
Because it's a pleasure meeting you all. I didn't know very much about cousin Manny Paul, but I learned a lot this afternoon.
Thank you for
Because
coming in. Glad you
it would,
came.
yeah. And cousin Daniel, I look forward to seeing you when I visit New Providence. I should be in Nassau by now and next week. And I look forward to seeing that tree and to get some other information from you.
definitely.
Thank you
again.
all for coming.
Bye, cuz. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Kim Daisy, nice hearing you today.
Bye. Yes,
God
thank
bless
you.
Nice
Love
hearing
you.
you. God bless you. Love you and take care.
Love you. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
By
And
my
I was
cousins, by my cousins. Wonderful, wonderful 2 hours. This was worth me leaving
missed
my
it.
daughter to come to this today. I thank you, Daniel, for the reminder. Thank you.
No problem, cousin Janet, and we definitely will stay in contact.
Please.
for sure.
All of you, please do. Judy, I'll
Same
talk
here.
with you later.
Okay.
Because I got some
Anne Marina,
information
you
you
still
need.
there?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Good evening
Okay.
to you and Dennis. I'll let Archie know that I spoke with you. With
Okay,
you both.
please do. Everyone is doing okay?
Fine. I guess you
Okay.
heard Aunt Evelyn passed.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have a blessed day and give my love to everyone.
You do the same. Okay, Dennis, and give my best to Cherie.
I most certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Danielle,
Cousin
that's
Marina,
about
this
it.
is, yeah, this is just Janet, Cousin
Oh,
Marina.
hi, Janice. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm glad to hear you sound strong and wonderful, and I'm glad to hear your voice. And I'm glad that you're on. When Daniel said that he was going to get you on, I knew you would be a wealth of information for us.
Thank you. Thank you. A little bit I know. I'm glad to give it to you all. It's not much. Like I told him, I say, I married into the family, so I'm limited in what I know.
And what
You know
need-
quite a bit, quite
Yes.
a bit. And
Yes.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay,
yes.
Daniel, so we'll talk another time.
Yes, ma'am, we definitely will.
Okay, and you and Dennis will be in touch with each other, okay?
Yes, ma'am, we definitely will. I just wanted to say that if he is still on, I'll be giving you a call, hopefully later today, cousin Dennis, if that's fine with you.
Hello? Dennis?
He probably
Uh-oh.
went off already.
Maybe he did. Okay, well, you have his number. You can call him, okay?
Okay,
All right, you have a blessed day.
you too.
Okay,
you too.
bye-bye.
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 Okay, cousin Daniel.
All right, cousin Linda, thanks so much again.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay.